Alright, today we are watching a program called Bougainville. Bougainville. You probably read it when you clicked on the video, but once more, it's Bougainville. I'm pretty sure I'm saying it right. Maybe I'm not. Maybe we'll learn about that later. But Bougainville by the Department of Defense. That is the United States Department of Defense, I assume. And this was published all the way back in 1948. So a program from the Department of Defense in 1948. I think this is going to be related to World War II somehow. I know about the island of Bougainville, but I don't quite know how it relates to World War II or the Department of Defense. So this should be a very interesting watch. So let's dive in. Man, wow, did that wake me up. Holy moly. All right, let's go. Let's learn about Bougainville. Bougainville, a step to victory. Interesting. So this is probably during the Pacific campaign of World War II. Again, I know a little bit about the Pacific arena of World War II, but I don't know how Bougainville specifically, the islands of Bougainville, played into this. So hopefully that's what we're learning today. By the sounds of it, we had to take Bougainville in order to ensure victory. So Bougainville was a step to victory. So that's all the context I have. So let's keep going. Oh wow, we actually get an explanation. All right, forward by mid. Oh, it sounds like someone's going to read it for us, actually. Let's just listen to somebody read it. It's actually so funny that somebody's reading the text that we have on screen. Like, you either have somebody say it or you have text. You don't have both. It's pointless to have both, you know? But whatever. Let's keep going.
By mid-1943, a year and a half after Pearl Harbor, the hacking up of Japan's empire began.
That's a funny way to put it. A year and a half after Pearl Harbor, the hacking up of Japan's empire began. You know, like that is, you can tell there's some passive aggression in there for sure. The hacking up of Japan's empire began. Like, what a funny starting statement.
We had lopped off all the main Solomon Islands.
We had lopped off all the main Solomon Islands except Bougainville. That's, again, the use of language in this is so funny because, again, we have to remind ourselves, this was written and recorded by the Department of Defense, right? This is the language used by the United States Department of Defense immediately after World War II. So we're definitely learning about, like, military English through this.
Except Bougainville. Our plan for Bougainville was to immobilize the Jap ground forces.
Just hearing the term Jap in its like native habitat, the Jap ground forces, like there's something about Jap that just feels like a little wrong to say, to be honest.
And to knock out their bomber and fighter bases.
That's interesting. All right, so this is taking place like in the push for World War II, pretty much. Like this is taking place like during the main combat. This is not like an afterthought. Like this is, we have to take Bougainville in order to knock out the Japanese bombers. Like this is an actual task or mission within World War II Pacific theater, you know? So this should be very interesting, I hope.
Softening up operations began in July.
Softening up operations. All right, so that's how we start. Like softening up operations means bombers dropping bombs. That is what that is what softening up means to the military. It's just dropping bombs indiscriminately on the military bases. Hopefully they're on the military bases. I don't actually know how many people live in Bougainville. So I don't know if there are like native people who are being bombed as well, or if this is like a mainly military conflict. I don't know, but I have to imagine there are some locals here. Yep, what we just watched, that was softening up.
The heaviest missions were concentrated on the northern airfields, which were at the center of strong Jap defenses.
Strong Jap defenses. See, it just, again, hearing the term Jap, like, something feels wrong. I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't be saying it, but if he's saying it, I'm saying it. I guess it's different. I guess that's what I have to understand, is like, during this one moment of US-Japanese relations, we were killing Japanese and Japanese were killing us. So we called them Japs, you know? But I think that's it. I think after we stopped fighting with each other, they're no longer Japs. Like, I think Jap is specifically a Japanese person that you, a U.S. military man, are trying to kill. Like that's what Jap means in my head, at least. Like there is a lot of meaning behind the term Jap that is not just Japanese.
Airstrips, supply dumps, planes, and shore installations were shot up with methodical regularity.
They were shot up with methodical regularity. Like, it is just a bizarre way of hearing English being used. This is some crazy footage, though. Like, again, we are actually watching wartime footage, like war taking place right before our eyes. This, like, never gets old to me.
Meanwhile, at Guadalcanal in the southern Solomons, ships were being loaded for the main assault.
Dang, so hang on. This is what, like, the American military looked like in the Pacific, like, when we were on islands. Like, oh, there's so much to take in and understand about this time. Like, this really was just a wild time and place to be.
By October 27th, the 3rd Marine Division had embarked. The convoy, to deceive Jap reconnaissance, during the night swung hard to port and cut an arc toward the west coast of Bougainville.
That's interesting. All right, so to confuse the Japanese reconnaissance, the boats went on a weird direction or went on a weird path to get to Bougainville. Like, even that, like, I love details like that. Like, you don't really think about that anymore. Like, that there are Japs reconnaissance planes scanning your convoy, and you have to take a different route so that they can send their ships to one place where you're going to actually turn around and send your ships another place instead. Like, that's so complex. War is such a crazy thing.
Pouring in their fire unopposed, our warships, in coordination with dive bombers, thoroughly pounded the landing area on D-Day, November 1st.
D-Day, November 1st. Dang, so we were attacking... Was that also the D-Day in Europe? Was November 1st? That'd be crazy if we launched D-Day in Europe the same day that we were doing all this in the Pacific. That's a lot to be managing. It's actually crazy to think that the U.S. fought World War II in 2 theaters, whereas the rest of Europe really only fought it in 1. I feel like people forget, like, the whole Japanese Pacific side of World War II. Like, that was mainly, almost entirely dealt with by the U.S. Like, people say that Russia really helped win World War II, but not when it comes to the Japanese.
Long before dawn, the Marines piled into their assault boats.
This is crazy. So this is how the Marines would get into their assault boats. They would just throw over like a rope ladder and they would climb down. That is actually pretty funny though, because you do see like these rope ladders in like the boot camp training movie montages. You know, like anytime a soldier trains in like a movie, they have to climb up one of these rope bridges. So it is funny that they actually did use them in the military for a purpose like this.
0645 hours. Landing points, an inshore island named Puruwata, and a promontory called Cape Torokina.
Dang, what's crazy is that like some people watching might either have been at this battle or like had a grandpa who was at this battle, you know? Like depending on how old my audience really is, like somebody might know something about this battle right here.
The first assault boats drew only sporadic enemy fire. But soon the Japs were trying desperately to break up our landing operations. Their continuous air attacks delayed unloading the ships.
Dang, this is crazy. There's so much happening like every second in this battle. Like I feel like I gotta stop just to like appreciate, like that was a boat that we saw that was probably hit by the Japs. That's just like, again, like so many actions are taking place right here. Really is like the fog of war right now.
But our airmen and anti-aircraft sharpshooters brought down 18 Japanese planes.
Dang, that sounds like a lot, but also not a lot. I don't know. Like, obviously, shooting down a plane from the ground, even if I shot down one, I'd feel like a huge accomplishment. But, like, for an entire, like, army convoy to only shoot down 18 planes, I don't know. I don't know if that's, like, an impressive number. Like, what's the KD on that plane ratio, you know? But that's crazy too, that we literally just watched like a Japanese pilot get shot down right before our eyes. You know, like that is an actual act of war that we just saw. That's nuts. Or at least, I don't know if I want to say hopefully that was a Japanese pilot, but hopefully it wasn't an American pilot. I don't know. It's tough because I don't have any harsh feelings toward the Japanese. I'm not hoping that was a Japanese person who died. Let's hope that the pilot survived, but the plane got destroyed. How about that?
On the beachhead, patrols quickly established outposts. By nightfall, the Marines were prepared against the possibility of infiltration or surprise attack.
That's just so wild. So we landed on Bougainville on like the north side, and immediately we just dug in our heels and like built camps and everything. Like, the army, the military, the war is just so crazy. It's wild seeing like how much manpower was just put behind this effort. You know, obviously like a lot, right? But like we learned about that in school, but like just seeing it is different than hearing about it. I don't know.
Aim.
Dang, did that soldier just hit themselves in the face with their gun? Let's watch that again. I think him in the trench, he's putting his gun down and it hits him in the face.
Gun came.
Yeah, he did. He just got smacked in the face. That's so funny. I love how they preserved that shot. I wonder if they did that on purpose or not. Like, why would the U.S. Department of Defense include in their own propaganda video one of their own soldiers hitting themselves in the face by accident with a gun? Like, that's just a funny thing to have been included in a program like this.
Admiral Halsey, 2.5 weeks later, accompanied units of the 37th Division, which landed between November 8th and 24th to reinforce the Marines.
Dang, they just drove this tank from the ocean onto the beachhead. Like, that's crazy. Like, we really did have some awesome machines for World War II. Like, I'm not a machine guy, but like, I have been impressed by the machines I've seen for World War II many a times before.
The Jap Air Force, a few days later, made a major strike against our beachhead.
Dude, the Jap Air Force, I can't get over that, the use of that term. Like, I get why they're using it in this context. It's just like, it's so funny that they actually used it. Like, it seems like they should have known that that was like a weird thing to be saying. But maybe not, I guess. I don't know. I love the flight formation that the Japanese took too. 3 like V's all in a row. Like, that's definitely a very Japanese way to fly. I don't know if this really is an authentic Japanese flight pattern, but like it seems structured and organized enough to be one.
Made a major strike against our beachhead and succeeded in firing several of our gasoline and oil dumps. Until these losses were replaced, our troops carried on only limited operations.
Do you see, like, all these shots are absolutely nuts. Like, I want to spend a minute on every one of these shots. I know I can't, but, like, we are watching American soldiers being shot at by Japanese soldiers, presumably, at least. Like, I like to believe that much is true. Like, I would feel so dumb if this was all staged. But, like, I'm pretty sure this is real war footage we're watching right here. So I just want to remind you all that, like, we're watching real stuff happen. Like, this isn't, like, a movie. Like, this is for real. This is for these people's lives that they're fighting right now. So I feel like we should never forget that this is real stuff that we're watching right here. Or at least I think it is.
Towards extending our perimeter.
Like, there are just, like, real Japanese people hiding behind these trees in the brush, like, waiting to shoot at Americans right here. You know, like, that's what's so crazy about this footage. Is like, this all actually happened, and we're getting to watch it, 100 years later almost. 80 years later, I guess.
General Griswold, commanding 14th Corps, began to step up our attacks against the Japanese.
See, like, again, like, these guys are just advancing behind the tank. Is this really the strategy that we were employing in these battles? Was just, like, creep along behind the tank? Like, this seems so sketchy. Like, not, like, what they should have been doing. I don't know what they should have been doing, but, like, just creeping behind the tank seems like a recipe to get your head shot off. I don't know. I love the gun sound effects though, like that classic dong. Like I don't even know how to describe it, but like these are some very classic sound effects, or these are actual sounds of guns being fired. I don't think so though. I think all the sounds are added like way after the fact, so I'm pretty sure these are just sound effects, and they are like the classical gunshot sound effects for like cartoons and stuff. I think that's so funny. See, like that guy, that was a real injured guy. I don't know if he survived or if he died, but like that was somebody's grandpa, somebody in America, that was their grandpa that you just watched there. Like, that's what I'm trying to communicate to you. Like, these are all real people, and everyone we're seeing is related to a real person who is alive today. And like these are all of these guys are somebody's grandpa right now. Like, that's what's so crazy. Like, you could be watching this and not even know that that's your dad or grandpa right there. Like, that's what blows my mind about these.
Casualties mounted sharply as we beat down suicidal attempts to infiltrate our lines. The technique of jungle fighting was...
Dude, this is some crazy jungle warfare footage right here, though. Like, all these crazy shots, this is like some nuts stuff we're seeing.
...to our troops, yet in many instances we completely wiped out Jap units. Underground field hospitals were set up close to the front lines.
Geez, see, like an underground field hospital. We're literally putting our brothers and sisters, I guess brothers, to rest on the battlefield as the battle's taking place. Like, isn't that nuts?
Often performed surgical operations while enemy shells exploded within a radius of 50 yards. Engineers and Seabees, meanwhile, had begun building 3 airstrips. By January, 2 months after our initial landing, 2 runways for fighter planes and 1 for bombers were in operation.
See, yeah, again, just the scale of like the construction that we were doing as well. Like every single place that we captured from the Japanese, we built like a whole airstrip and like, you know, army base around. So it's just like, it's not just the fighting that blows my mind. It's like the scale of the logistics that we pulled off, building, like transporting all these raw materials everywhere. It really is truly crazy how much we were doing for the war effort.
We utilized C-47 transport planes to supply our troops fighting in the forward areas. It was a welcome improvement over the drudgery of pack carrying through swamps and jungles.
That is interesting that, like, by this time in our military's history, we no longer needed to carry our supplies through the rainforest. We could just drop our supplies onto us once we'd already gotten to where we wanted to go. That's a very interesting note. That definitely did have some impacts on the battles, I'm sure. You know, like, imagine on one side, the soldiers had to hike like 50 miles with like 100 pounds on their back versus another army that had to hike the same distance with nothing on their back. You know, like, whatever army is the most well-rested is probably going to do better. So I can understand how this would be advantageous to have during these sorts of battles.
Our troops were fighting one of Japan's toughest outfits, the notorious 6th Division, commanded by the fanatical General Kanda.
The notorious 6th Division. Does anyone actually know about that? Like, I've never heard about the notorious Japanese 6th Division, but like, I'm curious now. Is that like true what he's saying? Like, this was like the bad of the bad, and these guys were taking out this very notorious Japanese battalion or whatever? I would love to actually know if that's true. I mean, I'm gonna believe him. I don't know if that's like, I don't know, the battle speak talking or whatever. It's also so crazy that like all of these shots are just of these guys shooting into the forest at almost nothing. Like, I have to imagine there were people there that they were shooting at, but like, were there? You know, like, I have no idea. Oh, whoa, no way. Was that a prisoner of war, a Japanese prisoner? That's crazy. See, that's crazy for multiple reasons, right? Weren't the Japanese taught to not be taken prisoner? So like, the fact that we got this guy, that's crazy is all I gotta say.
Captured enemy maps and documents tipped us...
See, again, this is war footage that we're looking at. That is a bare butt naked Japanese prisoner of war right there. Like, that's not an actor, guys. That's a real prisoner of war. Like, this is footage of a real naked prisoner of war stripped of all their uniform, you know? Like, this is real right here.
Off to an impending all-out attack against our beachhead. This was early in March, 4 months after our landing on Bougainville. The maps and documents gave us a general idea of the Jap plan of battle and probable jump-off date.
See, what a crazy amount of fighting that took place just for this island. You know, like, were there even like large numbers of like local people here, or like what was even the point other than like strategic positioning? You know, like it's just so crazy to me that we fought like months-long battles for this island. And what's even crazier, honestly, is that here in America, nobody even talks about the Battle of Bougainville or anything. Like, this, to Americans, is just like one small battle that happened one time that nobody ever thinks about. You know, like, that's what's so crazy to me, is that, like, people lost their lives, so much work went into this, and, like, nobody remembers that any of this even happened nowadays.
March 10th. Before the Japs moved, we had redisposed our forces and coordinated all our positions. We were ready. In those hills were the Japs, hidden, watchful, waiting for the order to attack.
That is crazy that, like, yeah, there are just mountains on this island and, like, the Japs are just, like, buried in them somewhere. Like, that is pretty nuts. I don't think I would have made it as a soldier. Like, with that mentality of just knowing that there's soldiers hiding everywhere waiting to kill us, I would not have liked being a soldier. Like, if I was at this battle, I honestly probably would be having a really fun time just because I would get to look at, like, the rainforest, you know? Like, I would be getting so distracted by the nature that I was getting to see there that, like, I think I still would be having a good time.
On the eve of the assault, General Kanda issued the following order of the day.
The Imperial Japanese Army 6th Division. Order of the day. To avenge our mortification since Guadalcanal will be our duty through...
Interesting. So the Imperial Japanese Army 6th Division order of the day to avenge, dang, that's the order of the day, to avenge our mortification since Guadalcanal. What does mortification mean? Is that like a mortar, like they're shooting mortars at you? I don't know, mortification. You're mortified to avenge our mortification since Guadalcanal. I don't get the use of that word in this context. To avenge our mortification since Guadalcanal will be our duty true and supreme. This is this is very weird, to be honest. Like, this is starting to become like almost a cult or something.
And supreme. Strike! Strike! And strike again! Until our enemy is humbled forevermore!
This is giving us a glimpse into the war mindset of Americans, right? Strike, strike, and strike again until our enemy is humbled forevermore. Like, I guess you can say we did do that to the Japanese. The Japanese are humbled forevermore based on the 2 strikes that we hit them with. So, or I guess we're starting to see what war does to the human mind.
Brighten with the blood of the American devils!
Brighten with the blood of the American devils, the color of the renowned insignia on our arms. Oh, hang on. So is this what the Japanese are saying?
The color of the renowned insignia on our arms!
The American devils. That's really funny. I don't get... This must be what the Japanese are saying to themselves.
The cry of our victory at Torquay Bay shall resound to the shores of our beloved Nippon.
Yeah, okay, so this is from the perspective of a Japanese person. I wonder if this is like an intercepted communication or what this is. Like, did somebody write this as like a creative writing project? Like who wrote this? Does this actually come from like a Japanese like script, or is this just... I have no idea what this is, to be honest. Shall resound to the shores of our beloved Nippon. See, that's so funny, though, that they are still calling Japan Nippon during this time. That's a very antiquated name for Japan.
We are invincible. No foe can equal our might.
See, this is interesting that it's coming from the Japanese perspective, though, because so far we've only really learned about the American perspective of World War II, but this is giving us at least a small glimpse into what the Japanese perspective was. We are invincible. No foe can equal our might. To attain our aims, we must always attack, and our enemy we must smite. Like, that is definitely giving us an understanding of the Japanese war mantra.
To attain our aims, we must always attack, and our enemy we must smite.
I mean, the guy performing this speech is kind of giving it his all, too. Like, he's definitely leaning into it, but, like, even the words alone are pretty telling as to what the Japanese are thinking. So long as this is a communique from the Japanese, like, I'm still having trouble understanding what this actually is.
Danger comes sooner when it is despised.
Danger comes sooner when it is despised. So are you not supposed to despise danger? Are you supposed to be comfortable with danger so that it doesn't actually come to you? Or are you supposed to despise danger? I don't know. Like, do you want danger to come sooner? No, you don't want danger to come sooner, right? So you don't despise? I don't know. I can't figure it out. Maybe it makes more sense in Japanese. Caution and prudence will bring no grief. That's interesting. I guess that's fair. Service in silence and bear all pain. See, yeah, that's a crazy statement right there. Service in silence and bear all pain. Like, that does feel like something the Japanese military would tell to its soldiers.
Caution and prudence will bring no grief. Serve in silence and bear all pain. The shame of our soul will give us strength to preserve our nation and our glory. Kanda!
I gotta hand it to whoever's reading it. They're really giving this performance their all, but I don't think that's even the tone it was meant to be read in. The shame of our soul will give us strength to preserve our nation and our glory. The shame of their soul. So they're starting with shame in their soul. Like, the shame of our soul will give us strength. So the Japanese are already assuming that they have shame in their soul, and that is what is going to give them strength to preserve their nation and their glory. That's weird. That's weird how the shame of their soul is what, in their minds, preserved their nation and their glory. That's like, I don't know. I don't understand that. I guess shame in Japanese culture might be different than shame in Western American culture. Maybe that's a cultural translation issue. But then we actually get to learn who this came from. Kanda, Lieutenant General Commanding. So the person who wrote this little speech is the guy who's in charge of the 6th Division, right? The Japanese people that our American soldiers in this are trying to combat against. Like that, this was written by the leader of the Japanese who we're fighting against in this battle. I think that's the significance of this speech, is that's the speech that was given to the Japanese who are fighting the Americans who we are watching right now.
With cool precision, our artillery met the first shock of the enemy's onslaught. Fanatic.
So that was interesting. That was a glimpse into what the Japanese general would have said to his men to encourage them to fight. That is a really good glimpse into the mindset of the Japanese soldier.
The Japanese soldier attacked and attacked. For had not his commander declared, "We are invincible, no foe can equal our might," and had not he ordered, "Strike, strike, and strike again, preserve our nation and our glory." For 4 weeks the battle raged.
You can almost hear like the irony in the voice actors or the narrators like delivery, right? Like the fact that the Japanese think they're the invincible ones in this scenario is kind of humorous, just knowing what's coming, I guess. I shouldn't describe it as humorous, but it's dramatic irony, I guess, is what it truly is, that they would describe themselves in such a way.
Back and forth, up and down, attack, counterattack, retreat, advance, advance, until...
Yeah, this part of the program is like as chaotic as I imagine war is actually like.
We killed more than 8,000 Japs.
All right, so we might be demonetized for this. I'm going to try to go through it real quickly, but that is a field of dead Japanese soldiers.
Our troops buried 5,370 of them.
5,370. So you know what? Props to us for like counting at least. Like we were trying to like keep count at least. Dang, that's crazy though. We just watched 5,000 Japanese soldiers just get buried in a mass grave in Bougainville. Like, geez, like this is no joke. Like that's what I try to communicate to you guys. Like this is real war that we're seeing, not just like playtime. So like that's some real stuff we just watched. Again, I believe in showing you guys all of that too. I don't want to censor this channel so that these videos get monetized. The point of me watching this is that you, the audience, gets to see this stuff in its entirety. So even though I complain about shots like that getting these videos demonetized, it is totally worth it so long as you guys actually watch and understand the value of what you're seeing. Or understand the value or understand the horror of what you're seeing as well.
Those who had fled back into the hills could easily be kept immobilized. In May 1944, Bougainville, for all practical purposes, was ours.
In May 1944, that's funny. I'm recording this in May as well. So I guess, what, 80 years ago exactly? Not exactly, but 80 years ago. Oh, 44? Oh, so maybe like 79 years ago, we took Bougainville. That's crazy.
We had paid a price, too.
Yeah, I kind of want to know like the numbers on this. We know how many Japanese died in the battle for Bougainville, but how many Americans did we lose? I hate to put it in those sorts of terms, but like I kind of want to know our KD. Here lies in honored glory an American hero known only to God. Okay, so this is a tomb of an unknown soldier. Interesting.
But our living soldiers here on Bougainville found rest and recreation.
Well, that's good. That's good that the survivors found rest and recreation in Bougainville. What is this long list? Are we like establishing a new town in Bougainville? Like, why is there libraries and sports and stuff? Dang, they're playing baseball on the army base in Bougainville? That's funny.
The part played by Bougainville proved to be of priceless importance as our fighting forces struck closer and ever closer to the heart of the Japanese Empire.
That's so funny. Are they all boogie boarding? See, that's so funny is once Bougainville was captured, it was a lot of people's job just to hold it, just to make sure that we didn't lose it again. So once you did all the fighting, I guess there was like nothing else to do but have fun. Like that is, that's really funny though, that they're boogie boarding, you know? That's just such a childish activity in my mind. Just to think that like these soldiers just buried like 5,000 Japanese dead bodies and now they went boogie boarding. That's so nuts to me. All right, that's the end. HRA 5. I don't know what that means, but that must be something. All right, so that was the battle for Bougainville. I feel like this is one of those smaller battles that's just lesser appreciated within the grand scope of World War II, right? Like this is not the first battle people mention when they mention either World War II or even just the Pacific Theater. Like they definitely have forgotten about Bougainville a little. So I'm definitely happy to have learned about it through this. These programs are always a little hard to have like enthusiasm for because again, we did just watch some really horrifying stuff, but it was a good watch at the same time. I do feel like I did learn more, both about the American mentality towards the war, as well as the Japanese mentality. Getting to read that speech or whatever that the lieutenant commander Kanda gave to his troops, I don't know, that just gave us more of an understanding of what the Japanese were fighting for as well. So that's very interesting. I appreciate having that sort of information in these old programs because that does give us perspective from both sides at least. Even though what the Lieutenant General wrote wasn't the most agreeable to us, even still it gives us an understanding of what their mentality was. And I feel like that's important because to understand how America and Japan, two countries that have been kind of best friends for a very long time, could have been so against each other during this time is because of the different things we believed about ourselves and our country. So getting to see what the Japanese believed is kind of understanding this whole conflict better. So I do very much appreciate that. I do feel like I gained a better understanding for World War II and especially the Pacific Theater through this. There's a lot more footage like this though. Like half of this channel is just going to be me watching war footage eventually. Like I've kind of been putting it off, but there are so many programs like this out there that like I am going to be watching more of this. So this was a good, dipping of the toe into the Pacific Theater of World War II. But I think that's where we have to call it, right? We learned about this battle and now tomorrow there will be another battle. So like World War II, today there was a battle in Bougainville, tomorrow there will be a battle somewhere else. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you did and you want to support what I do here, you can follow the link in the description that'll take you over to the Internet Archive. The Internet Archive is where I get all these old programs from. So if you want to support what I do here, donate to them. And with that, I think we are ready to cut to black.